morning reception and welcome to today's reading and understanding of the world lesson. Today is Tuesday the 19th of January 2021 and our skill today is to identify and explore mini beasts. Do you know what a mini beast is? We are going to read our story today, the beginning of it, and then we're going to explore what mini beasts are together. You are going to need a couple of things for our lesson today. You're going to need your book and a pencil. You're going to need your brain and you're going to need your worksheet. Now, if you don't have access to your worksheet, you can draw one in your book. It's not a problem. Okay, let's warm up our brains and begin by reading some of the animals that we learned in yesterday's lesson. Let's look at the first one together. Ox, fox, fox. Let's look at the second one. At, rat, rat. And our last one, we have a sound button underneath the b and the b. That means we just say one b. Are you ready? A, b, it, rabbit, rabbit. Great reading. Now I would like to show you our story mountain. This is something that we've seen at school before. Our story mountain helps us with the beginning, middle and end of our story. And if you can remember, the beginning is when we learn all about our character. Who was our character in the story? That's right, it was Pete the Badger. The middle is all about something that goes wrong. What goes wrong in our story? That's right, Pete tidies up all of the forest and there's nothing left. And the end tells us how we overcome the problem. How did Pete overcome the problem? That's right, he got all the animals to help him put the forest back together again. Now today we're just going to be looking at the beginning of our story. So all I would like you to do is sit comfortably and listen as we read the beginning. Are you ready? This is Tidy by Emily Gravett. Deep in the forest lived a badger called Pete, who tidied and cleaned and kept everything neat. He tidied the flowers by checking each patch and snipping off any that didn't quite match. He tidied the fox by grooming his fur. He untangled each knot and each twig and each burr. He tidied the birds from the big to the small by brushing their beaks and then bathing them all. He picked up stray sticks. He swept and he rubbed. He polished the rocks and he scoured and scrubbed. So, when a leaf fell, well, Pete tidied up. But he still wasn't happy. Now the trees looked bare and scrappy. And so, to make it all look neat, Pete undertook a mighty feat. He dug up every single tree. Gosh. But then it rained. There was a flood. And afterwards, a lot of mud. Ew. Pete called in the diggers. He called in the mixers. He called in the concrete, the rakers, the fixers. No mud, no leaves, no mess, no trees. Perfectly tidy and perfectly neat. "This forest is practically perfect," said Pete. And we're going to stop there. So here is Pete saying that the forest was practically perfect. Does that look like a perfectly perfect forest to you? I don't think so. When I like taking walks in the forest, I like seeing all the trees and all the leaves and all the sticks and the mud, and it is a little bit messy, but that's okay. What Pete's done to the forest is he's just made it all concrete. There's nothing there. If I go back to my story mountain, I can now fill in my first box. Pete, our main character, tidying up the forest. So there's a picture of him tidying it up. Now, tomorrow we're going to look at what the problem is. But we've already read the book, so we know that it was a bit of a problem for the animals. Can you tell me why? It was a problem for the animals because when Pete tidied up the forest, it meant that there was no more shelter and no more food for the animals. But the animals aren't the only creatures that live in the woodland. Can you name any other creatures that you think live in the woodland? Well, let's have a closer look. Mini beasts also live in the woodland, and mini beasts are tiny creatures that if you look really carefully you would be able to see in the woods. They might live underneath logs or rocks. They might live in the grass or in the ground. Some mini beasts, well, they fly, so you might find them in flower patches or on bushes. Here are just some mini beasts. Can you name any? You might want to pause the video. There are so many, and I have just filled my page with however many would fit on here, but there are loads more. Shall we go through some together? We have a grasshopper. We have a dragonfly, an earwig. We have worms, a spider, bee, slug, caterpillar, and I don't know if you remember reception, but right at the beginning of the year we saw some caterpillars that were in our garden munching away on all of the plants in the flower bed. We have a woodlouse, snail, a beetle. Now there are lots of different types of beetles, so I've just put a common one that you can find here in the UK. A fly, ant, millipede, a ladybird, and a butterfly. Can you name any more mini beasts? Now, because mini beasts are so small, we have to look really carefully for them. And I have a little bit of a challenge for you. What I would like to do is I would like you to go on a mini beast safari. That means either going out into the garden or going out on your walk and having a look for any mini beasts you can find. Now you have to ask an adult to go with you on your mini beast safari. So make sure you ask for their permission first, and remember, don't touch anything unless your adult says it's okay to. When you go on your mini beast safari, I would like to see if you can find some information about what you have found. On your sheet, you have a space to write their name or draw a picture of them. Then I want you to see if you can count how many legs they have. And then, finally, I'd like you to tell me whereabouts you found them. So, I wondered if we could do a couple together. And then if you would like to do some more, you can go and do some with your adult. So, let's have a look at the first one. Now, this mini beast I found underneath a log. Let's have a closer look and see who lives under there. Who did I find? Right, absolutely. This is an ant. I wonder if in my first box we can sound out the word ant together. Are you ready? Ant. A. N. T. Ant. Great. Now let's have a closer look at this picture. Now here is the ant's head. Can you see that this mini beast has two things that come out the top of their head? They're called antennae. Let's see how many legs the ant has. So we're not going to count those two because we know already what they are. Let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So an ant has 6 legs. Now, if our mini beasts have 6 legs, that means that they're called an insect. Some mini beasts are insects, some are not. Where did we find our ant? Can you remember? Under a log. Can you help me sound that out together? Log. L-O-G. Log. Great work. Let's have a look at another one together. Oh, this time I have seen a spider's web. Who lives in a spider's web, do you think? Oh, that's right, a spider. Let's see if we can sound out spider. Now with this word, it's quite a long word and you might not get all the sounds, but I want you to pause the video and see how many sounds you can get in the word spider. Okay, so here is spider. How many legs does my spider have? Should we count together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to write down number 8. And where did I find my spider? In a web. Let's sound that out together. W. Oh, that's a sound we haven't learnt yet. Web. W. 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 E. B. Web. Great work. Last one that we're going to look at. Oh, this time I am in the grass. Who do you think could live in the grass? There we are. We have a slug, a slimy slug. Can we sound out slug together? S-l-u-g. Slug. S-l-u-g. Slug. Does my slug have any legs? No. Does my slug have any wings? No. So I'm going to write 0. And where did I find my slug? In the grass. I wonder if you can pause the video and see how many sounds you can get in the word grass. Fantastic. I'm going to stop there, reception class, but I would like to see if you can find some more mini beasts. If you don't have time to go outside, perhaps you could look at the PowerPoint and look at some of the mini beasts that I had up on my screen. Good luck on your safari, and I can't wait to see what you get up to. See you tomorrow.